see, many times our main message in evangelism is solely admittance into heaven. You get saved so that you get to go to heaven. Some kind of a future event. This is what's going to happen. Or maybe another way to put it is you don't go to hell, you get to go to heaven. That's sometimes our soul message when we in evangelism. I think here at Mosaic, we have a pretty good grasp on the fact that eternal life is also about living a full godly life here and now, right? Kind of understand. I think we have that grasp. However, I wonder if maybe we've lost some of that longing, the longing for a future reality and existence with God. Not sure. See, the Bible deals with this tension between the present reality and the future reality and existence of the people of God. Again, the Bible deals with the tension. Hint, there's a thing on the sheet for this. The Bible deals with the tension between the present and future reality of the people of God. And I want to talk about that tonight. So you guys have your Bibles. I want to turn to John chapter 6. The Bibles. John chapter 6. John chapter 6, starting in verse 35. Now in this passage in John, a couple things have already happened up to this point. The feeding of the 5,000, where Jesus takes the bread and the fish, breaks, gives thanks to God, breaks it, and feeds. A multitude of people, a miracle, an amazing miracle that happens. Takes the bread, feeds them. And then Jesus sees that the people are going to try to force him to be king, so he escapes, kind of gets away from the people, sends his disciples across the Sea of Galilee, then comes to them walking on the water. So these are a couple of things that have already happened. And then the crowd that was following Jesus, that wanted him to stay, search him out, hunt him out, find him, and then ask him for a sign. And in the sign, they talk about bread. So starting John chapter 6, starting in verse 35. Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will not hunger, and he who believes in me will never thirst. But I said to you that you have seen me, and yet you do not believe. All that the Father gives me will come to me, and the one who comes to me I will certainly not cast out. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. This is the will of him who sent me, that of all he has given me I lose nothing, but raise it up on the last day. For this is the will of my Father, that everyone who beholds the Son and believes in him will have eternal life. And I myself will raise him up on the last day. Therefore the Jews were grumbling about him, because he said, I am the bread of life, or I am the bread that came down out of heaven. They were saying, is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How does he now say, I have come down out of heaven? Jesus answered and said to them, do not grumble among yourselves. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up on the last day. So Jesus starts out and talks about bread. Now this statement, I am the bread of life. This is the first of 7 statements that Jesus makes in the Gospel of John. Maybe you've heard of the I am statements. These are really important. This is the first thing we need to hit. And if you give all the other 6 actually. Jesus said, I am the light of the world, chapter 8, verse 12. I am the door, chapter 7, verses 7, or chapter 10, verses 7 and 9, excuse me. Jesus said, I am the good shepherd, chapter 10, 11 and 14. I am the resurrection and the life, chapter 11, verse 25. I am the way, the truth, and the life, chapter 14, verse 6. And I am the vine, chapter 15, verses 1 and 5. The I am statements. So why are these important? We understand that these statements that are found in John, the Gospel of John, that Jesus says, are pointing to the fact that Jesus is more than just a man that was born, more than just a person, a good teacher, or a prophet. He's basically pointing to his divinity, to the fact that he's God. So, we know that God revealed himself in the Hebrew Scriptures to Moses by saying, I am, that's his name. So when Jesus uses this term, he's not just describing himself on the barn, the door, I am these things, just so you know, oh great, Jesus is these things. This term, you can see it throughout John, that this is that it upsets people that he uses, besides saying I am, he says other things. But it's pointing to more than just a description of himself. So this is very important. Jesus makes some really explosive statements in this whole passage. We need to pick up on those as we go. So I am This is also similar to what Jesus said to the Samaritan woman. You see in verse 35, Jesus says that he will not hunger. He's talking about bread. And he says, those who believe me will not thirst. Now, if you look at the story in John chapter 4, verses 10 and following, Jesus talks about the Samaritan woman. Jesus goes and meets the Samaritan woman. I'll kind of paraphrase the story. And Jesus goes as well. The Samaritan woman comes and he asks her for a drink of water. And in this dialogue that they have, Jesus then talks about living water. Water which he can give. And the woman says, well, you don't have a bucket. How can you get water out of this well to give me living water? And I want this water that you can drink. And you'll never be thirsty again. But you know, Jesus wasn't talking about real physical water, a daily sustenance, if you will, a thing that you need as far as water to live. He was talking about himself being that thing that you need, water. So you see in verse 35 that Jesus is talking about also food. Those who trust in him, who believe in him, will never hunger because he's the bread, and will never thirst. And pointing back to the Samaritan woman in chapter 4, will never thirst. And this image of the bread of life is also tied back to the idea of manna. You guys know what manna in Hebrew is? What is that? It's like bread. Before this passage I read, the people talk to Jesus about the manna. They say, you know, the Israelites had manna in the wilderness. They're talking about symbols. Show us some kind of sign to talk about. And then Jesus, after this passage we read, then goes back and connects this. So the image of bread that Jesus is talking about is tied back to this idea of manna, which God provided miraculously for the Israelites when they were in Exodus. The Israelites came out of Egypt, and they needed food. So God sent a daily portion, a daily sustenance, again, if you will, to the people with this manna, this bread type substance from heaven, sent it down. So this is the image that we're talking about, taking a daily sustenance. And also in verse 38, I think you can kind of find this image. Jesus says, I have come down from heaven to do the will of my Father. So maybe you can also tie this idea of the bread being sent down, the man going down to feed the Israelites, and Jesus is also sent down, from God. Did you catch that, the importance of this verse? Verse 38. Again, these explosive words that Jesus says. Verse 38 says, I have come down from heaven. Just like the I am statements that he makes, he says, I have come down. What does that say about Jesus? He's not merely a man. He's from heaven, right? Pre-existence. He talks about that Jesus was before his birth. Think about that for a second. Before the incarnation, before Jesus came as a person, he came down from heaven. Wow. So these are explosive statements. Jesus continues to pour on these statements. I am, and then I'm come down from heaven. Now the bread, it represents a deep need for sustenance. We have sustenance, it's something we need daily. See, Jesus fed these listeners, the 5,000, he fed them miraculously with this bread. Because they had a need. He saw they were hungry, broke the bread, miraculously, and there was food even left over, like 12 baskets. So he actually fed a physical need. But what he's trying to do, he's trying to tie them. You see in verse 36, it talks about the fact that they didn't believe him. He said, you've seen me, and yet you still do not believe. He's trying to point them to the fact, just like with the Samaritan woman, that I can feed, yes, physical food and these things are important, but I'm really, that's me. I'm the one that you're supposed to be looking at for your daily sustenance. It's daily sustenance. Look to me for your portion. But they didn't believe.